Welcome along to Shanghai, ladies and gentlemen, where it's Chinese Grand Prix weekend. But before we can race, we need to qualify. And who's going to take that coveted pole position? How will our grid line up? We're about to find out. Welcome to qualifying.
Okay, radio check, radio check.
Radio check.
Here's a quick position rundown for you. The top 5 are the fastest lap at the moment, 1:31.2. Leclerc, Piastri, Norris, Verstappen and Behrman. I'm afraid we've dropped to P22.
And that's it for sprint qualifying. Plenty more coming up over the rest of the weekend. So we'll see you all tomorrow. Forget pit stops, forget fuel management. It's pedal to the metal all the way here as we get ready for today's sprint. We're here in the Yangtze River Delta today, home of the 16 corners that make up the Shanghai International Circuit. 54% of this 3.3-mile lap is taken at full throttle, and we'll be getting up to speeds of around 200 miles per hour with DRS assistance down the back straight, before the cars brake into the tight hairpin at turn 14. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting sprint. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, and Oscar Piastri completes the front row. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Hulkenberg, Norris, Max Verstappen, and Pierce, Behrman, Antonelli, Gasly, and Esteban Ocon, Aaron, Albon, Pepe Marti, and O'Sullivan, Russell, Massa, Jack Doohan, and Yuki Tsunoda, Stroll, Webber, Maloney, and Tim Tramnitz rounds off the grid. Which of these drivers will get pole position today? We'll soon find out. And alongside me today is a man who needs no introduction, but I'll try anyway. It's Ant Davidson. Well, they say that a change is as good as a rest, and whilst there's not much rest on show in the sprint format today, there's definitely a change to what we're usually seeing on the track. Now, we had great fun watching them win last time out. What a great victory it was. But can they carry that into today's race?
It's the important one, isn't it, Crofty? You've done it once, can you do it again? But, you know, if you start believing in yourself and the confidence starts to build, that inner confidence is what you need. And you can carry that through to future races, including this one, and you set that ball rolling. That's the critical thing that they're looking for here. And I believe if you've got that first race win or a win at any stage, it can start to roll with you in a good way.
Okay, radio check, radio check.
Radio check.
After the points finished last race, let's aim to keep that momentum going. Yes, mate, I'll take that. Well done. We're really happy with the podium down here, so well done. Yes!
Nice work, gents. Nice work.
So with the sprint concluded, join us next time for qualifying and, of course, the main event, this weekend's Formula One Grand Prix. We'll see you next time. Welcome along to Shanghai, ladies and gentlemen, where it's Chinese Grand Prix weekend. But before we can race, we need to qualify. And who's going to take that coveted pole position? How will our grid line up? We're about to find out. Welcome to qualifying.
All right, give me a quick radio check, please. Radio check.
Radio check.
Here are the top 5 cars as things stand. Okay, so the current fastest lap, 1:31.3. Piastri, Albon, Tsunoda, Verstappen and Norris. We've been pushed down to P22. Okay, good job, mate. Really, really well done. That was a fantastic drive. Bring it home.
Clean. That was clean.
The Chinese Grand Prix then is upon us once again. It's a race that saw Michael Schumacher claim his final Formula One victory in 2006, as well as Red Bull's first win with Sebastian Vettel in 2009. There's no doubt there's plenty more drama to come here in Shanghai. The ever-tightening turns of 1 and 2 will prove tricky in the slippery conditions here in Shanghai, and anyone that slides wide will lose a lot of time getting back on track. Turn 14 should still be the best place for overtaking, but we'll have to see some improvement in the weather before the drivers can take advantage of that DRS assistance. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Nico Hulkenberg lines up on pole position, and Oscar Piastri completes the front row. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Albon, Tsunoda, Max Verstappen, and Norris. Behrman, Antonelli, Aaron, Pierce, Massa, Leclerc, Zach O'Sullivan, and Webber. Maloney, Tremnitz, George Russell, and Pierre Gasly. Pepe Marti, Doohan, Ocon, and Lance Stroll brings the grid to a close. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway. And alongside me today, a man small in stature but big on comment, Anthony Davidson. Hello. And let's talk momentum with this driver. What a sprint it was. They start at 0 once again for today, but with a huge amount of confidence, surely. Well, they'll definitely be glad that there's not a sprint race today. Let's face it, the sprint couldn't have gone much worse, but what we're looking for today is a reaction. I know what we've got to do before the start of today's race, but what about our driver? What do the final hours look like for them?
Well, for them, you've got your pre-race rituals that you go through. You see different drivers that, some have got their headphones on, they're listening to the music. Some drivers really absorb the energy from the crowd and they're there waving to them. Other drivers, they go within themselves. They chat to their engineers, absorbing that information, that vital information that you need to carry you through the race. And, those pre-race rituals are essential to making things systematic. We do a lot of Grand Prix in a season, and the more systematic you can be, the easier you are within that environment.
Okay, radio check, radio check.
Radio check.
Okay, we've got that relief of having points on the board finally, so let's keep that form up and get another top 10 finish today, please. Superb parking there, mate. Let's make sure we get the edge on the surrounding drivers as the lights go out. Okay, so that's the rest of the grid forming up now. Be patient and watch for those lights. If you think you can get past, make use of the overtake button and see what you can do. Try to stay with them. They might make a mistake and we could still regain the position. Good job, that was the fastest lap of the race so far. No tyre concerns at the moment, just focus on the driving. Great work, that's a new fastest lap of the race. Gap to your teammate behind, 13.2 seconds. Virtual safety car, virtual safety car. Reduce speed immediately and keep a positive delta. Right, drop your speed. Our delta's too low and we're going to risk a penalty. Slow your pace immediately. Virtual safety car is ending. Maintain your pace until we get the green flags. VSC ending. Wait for the greens. The track is clear. Green flag. The track's drying, but it's going to take a while to clear the standing water offline. Don't start thinking about slicks just yet. Okay, we're down to 15 laps of fuel left now. Okay, red flag, mate, red flag. No overtaking, please. We'll see you in the pit lane. All right, if we play this right, we can get a nice advantage here. Let's have a think about how we handle the rest of this race. I know here, but there's a good opportunity to get this start spot on. Come on. Okay, you're doing well out there. Keep it up. We're looking at about 10 more minutes of rain. 10 minutes. Gap to your teammate behind, 4.3 seconds. Great work, that's a new fastest lap of the race. That was the fastest lap of the race. Keep this up, well done. You're in first position, front of the pack. Verstappen behind you now. They're on old intermediates. Okay, you've just started the final lap of the race. Final lap. Oh, you worked hard for that one. Congratulations, well done.
Good job, gents. Good job.
And what a win for Nico Hulkenberg.
A great display of dominance today, Crofty, by this driver. They led from lights out to the flag at the end, led every lap of the race. Brilliant stuff by them, and excited to see what more they can do in future races.
And once all the hard work is over, and after lap of brilliant racing, it's time now to celebrate with our podium trio. And making the others green with envy, it's victory for the Hulk. Nico Hulkenberg on the top step of the podium. Well, what an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
Hey, Chief. We have a...
Hey, boss. Have you got a moment to look at something?
Hey, just a quick one. If you've got some cash kicking around, why not invest in the corporate facility? We can always use...
We got the outcome we were hoping for, boss.
Chief, I must remind you that we have parts fully researched that are waiting for development. Let's get that performance on the car.